Hey there, friends and foes. Good evening, Multiverse. This is Back of the Cereal Box presents Back Issue Breakfast Club. And this episode, we are going to be reviewing something a little bit newer, the Void Rivals Trade Paperback Collection. And we are going to do that right after this.
Saturday morning, it's fun for all. Cartoons and cereal, let's have a ball. Comic books, kaiju, pro wrestling too. The fun is waiting for you. Back of the cereal box.
All right, guys and gals, friends and foes, cereal box super friends. And before we get to Void Rivals, we do need to acknowledge our cereal box super friends, the folks who make this show possible. And Eli Cash, George Soroy, Dennis Poe, you can see all of those great contributors. They are part of our community, and you too can have your name in lights at patreon.com/cerealboxpodcast and support our programming. And for $2 a month, you get exclusive access to videos like this. Of course, if you're watching it right now on Patreon, you're already a member. But if you're watching it a month later on YouTube or Facebook, you can get these episodes before anybody else. And you can do that at patreon.com/cerealboxpodcast. We also need to thank our friends at Dr. Malcolm's Body Bags. They took the idea of the Mighty Men and Monster Maker and amped it up a whole nother level. And we're going to talk about more about them in just a moment. But we need to talk about Void Rivals. See, I love comic books. Avengers movies, Star Wars comic books made me who I am today. And Saturday mornings for me was all about big bowls of cereal, sitting down, watching cartoons, reading comic books, watching Godzilla movies, Kung Fu movies, pro wrestling. But we didn't have iPhones and tablets at the breakfast table on Saturday mornings. We were reading the back of the cereal box. That was our world, and that was our newspaper. And they had games and comics, and there were toys in the cereal box. And that's what this show is about. But because comic books were such a big part of my Saturday morning experience, you know, at noon, Mom would kick us out of the house. We would jump on our bikes. We would ride for miles and miles, go down to Lawson's Dairy, Rite Aid drugstore, or 20 miles away on our bikes, 20 miles away to Comics, Cards, and Collectibles. And I would get a big stack of comics. We would go up on the hill of the golf course, read comics, drink Coca-Cola, eat Brock's red licorice twists. It was our best life. So comics are a big part of my life then and today. And although we review a lot of comics from the 80s, sometimes it's appropriate for us to review something brand new. And this is relatively new. Void Rivals is a series that came out almost a year ago from this recording. Written by Robert Kirkman, and the art is by Lorenzo De Felici. And basically, Void Rivals is the launch of the Energon Universe from Image and Skybound and Hasbro. The Energon Universe is a connected universe, a shared universe with the Transformers, G.I. Joe, the Void Rivals, and rumor has it that Mask is on its way too. And this is Void Rivals issue 1 through 6. Now, I read all of the reviews, everyone raving about Void Rivals, but I held off on it. I'm one of those guys that, you know, if something's getting a lot of hype, I don't necessarily join on the hype train right away. I was that way for Stranger Things, and it was maybe 6 months after like the 7th reprinting of Void Rivals issue number 1 that I picked it up and I read it. and I was blown away. The quality was out of this world. And really, I should accept and expect nothing less from Robert Kirkman. He has created some of the most iconic comic properties in the last 20 years. Walking Dead, Invincible, Firepower, several others. And Void Rivals is no exception. Now, I'm going to spoil this for you. It involves basically a similar plot to the movie Enemy Mine. If you saw that movie with Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr., who, by the way, Louis Gossett Jr. was nominated for an Academy Award for his portrayal of the reptilian character. It is basically about two warring cultures, Earth's human culture, and then Louis Gossett Jr.'s reptilian culture. Two pilots, fighter pilots, at war, hate each other, enemies, crash landing on a desolate planet together, and having to learn how to get along to survive. And then eventually they become family. And spoiler alert, in their culture, the reptilians are the males, are the one that have the babies, and Louis Gossett Jr.'s character gives birth to a child and then dies. And Dennis Quaid, the enemy of this child, pledges to his family, his new family, that he will raise the child and take care of him. Great movie. Great movie. Well, Void Rivals follows that same kind of idea, except it is two planets and two pilots. I want to say his name is Draken, Drakan, and Solila, male, female. And they've been at war for centuries. And they've been at war so long that nobody even remembers why. And they believe that they are vastly different. And throughout the story, it's revealed that they're not different at all. They're the same race. They're from the same origin species. And their war, their cultural separation, is being perpetuated by their governments for their own gain. We don't learn what their gain is in this 6 issues, but we learn that it's a political move, and that the people who rule those planets are in charge and they are aware of what's going on. Now, Lorenzo's artwork is absolutely gorgeous. It is very reminiscent of Carmine Infantino, where you can just feel the motion coming off of the page. Every single, even where they're just standing around, you feel energy and motion. And it really serves this story exceptionally well. Now, here's where it connects with the Energon Universe. They do encounter a Decepticon or an Autobot, I can't remember which, I'm going to find it here for you, who has been on a planet, on the planetoid where they crash, for millions of years. And they just see a ship. They wake him up. He realizes, oh my gosh, Cybertron, I've got to go. And he transforms and flies away, leaving them stranded. They work together to build a ship to get off this asteroid, this planetoid. and to get home. And that's when things go south with double crosses and intrigue. And then there's this separate story running through with traders and pirates on Cybertron, and there's the character from Cybertron. I don't know in the later issues yet how it connects with the Transformers more directly, but it's planting the seeds now. And without the connection to the Transformers and the rest of the Energon universe, this story is phenomenal. It is such a good read. And I'm not going to spoil the end, but the end is a cliffhanger, but it's very satisfying. So check out Void Rivals. You can get this at our partner, TFAW, Things from Another World, and we'll post the link in our show notes. And while you're surfing around the internet, check out Dr. Malcolm's body bags. Check this out. When I was a kid, the Mighty Men and Monster Makers was one of the coolest toys on the planet. Well, Body Bags takes that idea and ramps it up a notch by doing it in 3D. There are 4 different assortments that come in zippered body bags, and you can mix and match to create your own characters and abominations. Get yours today.
Body bags.
I just think that is so cool. I can't wait till I have them in my hot little hands physically. And of course, since we are talking about comic books and back issues and Void Rivals, we have to acknowledge our charity partner, Comic Books for Kids.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.
We love them. Check them out. If you're into great interconnected stories, great stories of intrigue and political backstabbing and action and adventure, check out Void Rivals. It's a very, very satisfying story. You're going to like it a lot. You're going to like it a lot, Jenny. Anyway, the link to Things from Another World, our sponsor for Back Issue Breakfast Club, is in the notes. So check them out and get your own copy of issue 1 through 6 in trade paperback form. And you know what it's like? It's like this.
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi Strauss, Johnny Carson and Mickey Mouse. The first star was James Dean. Elvis Presley, yeah, he's still the king. Some things are only imitatable. You can't beat an original. Oh, you can't beat an original.
All right, guys and gals, that is it for us this week. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, tell 200-300 of your closest friends and family to come share the fun. Share this, like it, comment, get more people into the Patreon family. And until the next time, love you, mean it. We'll catch you on the back of the cereal box. I'm Johnny. I'm done. Ta-da!